Good Tvach Shvatov. We are learning Mishna Sotah, Parak Ches, Chapter 8, Mishnah Gimel, Mishnah 3. The Elu She'enon Chayzrin. These are the ones who do not turn back from the battlefield. Meaning we went through before the Mishnah that spoke about those who are exempt. They can leave the battle to go back to and not have to participate in the actual battle. And now the Mishnah is going to list those that do not go back from battle. Habayna, so the first exemption that we had in the previous Mishnah was a person who builds a new house. And the Mishnah decided what exactly constitutes a new house. And here the Mishnah is going to tell us what is not considered a new house. Even though you're building something new, it's not considered, it doesn't fall into the category of the new house that the Torah exempts a person from going to battle. So Habayna Beishar Achsadra Mirpesas. Somebody who builds a Beishar, which they translate here as a gatehouse. A gatehouse, is a small structure in front of a courtyard gate. It shelters the gatekeeper and is used by the residents to enter and exit the yard. That is a beishar, a gatehouse. Or he builds an achsadra. They translate achsadra as a portico. What's that? So they explain a portico is an entranceway in front of a house. Okay? And mirpeses is a gallery. Gallery is a long porch that runs along the length of the upper story of an apartment building. The residents enter their apartments from the gallery. So in these cases, if these are the things that you built, these do not constitute a house. An explanation they give here from the Tosfos Yantiv is, although a gatehouse provides shelter, you think about it, right? The portico, the gallery, they're not necessarily covered. Okay, so they don't provide any shelter. But the gatehouse, as we said, that's where the gatekeeper is. So there's going to be some kind of shade over him. There's going to be some kind of a roof over him. Nonetheless, although a gatehouse provides shelter, it is fit to be used for that purpose only temporarily. That's how it was made, temporarily. And therefore, whatever exactly that means, but it's temporary, and therefore does not constitute a bias, a house. So if these are the things that you build, these will not exempt you from going to battle. Okay, that's regarding the first exemption. The next exemption was we had if a person plants a vineyard or an orchard. Okay, and now we say what does not fall under that category. If he plants 4 trees of eating, four fruit trees. We said in the previous Mishnah, it's got to be 5. It's got to be at least 5. So if you planted 4 fruit trees, not going to be enough. Or b'chamisha ilon esrak, you plant 5 trees that don't produce fruit. Ilon esrak means a tree doesn't produce fruit. So you can bet 5 of them not going to help you because the Torah's example is the situation where the trees are growing fruit. Next, the next exemption was a person who made erisin on a woman. So, and we said whether the erisin is on a woman who has never married before, she was once married. Even if she's Shemeris Yavim, she's a woman that's waiting for Ibim to be done. In all those cases, the man that is connected to her for marriage is exempt. Well, here we have an example that says like this: Hamachzer es grushasai. You take back your ex-wife. He takes back his divorcee. He divorced a woman. He took her back. That will not exempt you from battle. And the Bartanur explains, Ein chayzer she'ena chadashalai, from a different pasuk that deals with a similar context about going out or not when you're married. It says there a new wife, and therefore that's understood that here also in the case of the exemptions for battle, it has to be considered a new wife, and he's taking back his ex-wife. That's not considered a new wife. Which one? See if there's anything down here. Before. Okay. Next. That's the first example. The next example is a number of cases where the man is betrothed to this woman, but he's not allowed to marry her. Amana l'kayin gadol, and a widow to a kayin gadol. She can't marry. Kayin gadol can't marry her. Grusha v'chalutza l'kayin hedget, or a divorcee, a woman that had chalitza done on her. She had fallen to Yibam, but none of the brothers-in-law want to marry her, so one of them does chalitza to free her. Both those women may not marry a Kohen Hedget. The divorcee is according to Torah law. The chalutza is according to rabbinic law. Mamzeres unesina Yisrael. Or let's say a mamzeres, that means a female child born from a marriage that carries with it, a union that carries with it the punishment of kares, at least, and the child is born from that marriage, or a child born from some of their relatives that was a mamzer. And a sina means a group of people that had at one point of time converted, and then they were decreed that they're not considered Jews anymore. That if we're talking about a female mamzeres and a sina married to a Yisrael, or a bas Yisrael, a mamzer and a sin. Let's say a mamzer or an asin, that's the male form, is married to a regular Jewish woman he's not allowed to be married to. Loy haya chayzer. In all these cases, they did not go back from battle. And that's because the pasuk we derive from the wording of the Torah that the woman that he is exempt from battle for is one that he is permitted to marry. When he's not permitted to marry, that does not exempt him. Okay, so that's the Tanna Kama. That's the first opinion. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Rabbi Yehuda says, Av habayna vayas al machaynai lehaya chayzer. That means if somebody rebuilt his house on its original place, which means he tore it down and he rebuilt it exactly on the same place before. If that is what he does, according to Rabbi Yehuda, lo yahya chayzer, he would not return. Because again, when it comes, according to Rabbi Yehuda, he does not consider this a new house. When the Torah talks about the person exempt because he built a house, the Torah says specifically a new house. So Rabbi Yehuda says that is not considered a new house. Okay? Now, we had before that even if you don't build a house, you bought the house, you inherited the house, it's given as a gift. So there we said you are exempt, but that's because it's a new house. You never had it before. Here, you had this house, you knocked it down, you rebuilt it. Rabbi Yehuda says that's not a new house. The fact that the Mishnah has this as Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, that means Tanna Kama does not agree. The first opinion does not agree. If it says Rabbi Yehuda says, that means the previous opinion doesn't agree with that. And the first Tana holds that even though you had the same house as before, but you knocked down the old house, so it's a new house, and therefore the Tanna Kama, the first Tana disagrees Rabbi Yehuda. Now Rabbi Eliezer says, Av habayna beis levenim b'sharein lohaya chayzer. Also, when we built a house of bricks, that's beis levenim, a brick house, b'sharein, in a place called Sharon. Okay, here it says Sharon. Okay, b'sharein lohaya chayzer. He did not return from battle. Now, what was the issue here in this place called Sharon? The issue was that the bricks that came from a Sharon were not very good bricks. They were not very sturdy bricks. Okay. So twice every 7 years, they had to rebuild a house. They had to redo it. And therefore, according to Rabbi Eliezer, the fact that, there is this regular, redoing of the house makes they bring it down, Rabbi brings down twice every 7 years. They have to rebuild the house. So that's called a temporary house. That's not called a regular house. That's called a temporary house. And therefore, according to Rabbi Eliezer, that would not be a reason. Those people would not be able to return from war. Tanna Kama again, the fact that the Mishnah lays it out as Rabbi Eliezer says, that means the first Tana does not agree. According to the first Tana, bottom line is, during those couple of years, you're going to live in it regularly? You're going to live in it regularly. It lasts for a couple of years. So it has to be rebuilt, but it lasts for a couple of years. That's considered permanent enough, and therefore that is considered a house that you return from battle for. Have a wonderful day.
It was a mud brick.
Thank you, Rabbi.
A mud type of a brick or something like that.